Hey guys, Santo here with Luka Kovac, who managed to get top 32 at YCS Anaheim playing Dracotale. So what are your thoughts on the format and the deck and then being positioned into it?
Yeah, I mean, the hitting of Dracotail on the newest ban list was super good for this deck. It opened up a lot of opportunity for like outplay and stuff now, and you don't get like slammed every time you play VS, which is great. The one thing I will say is I really don't like Mitsu as a deck. That deck is super lame. Just Floodgate Turbo realistically post side, which I really didn't like. That was kind of my only issue with the deck. But had a lot of fun playing this. I've been playing on Dracotail for a while now. I think it's been about like 2 months or so. And yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. So for the engine, 3 of the good ones, and then 2 of each of the big ones. I think I've explained these ratios a few times now, but the big ones are really good. You kind of want the variance. I think Urgula is better this format than Pan is, just because the back row is a lot more important this format. Like in the mirror, you have like flame and stuff that you can pop with these. Into stuff like K9, you can pop like force release and other stuff. As well as into Mitsu, you can pop the sets with like 5 mana and end of main, which is super important because like getting rid of a prayers or like just like a row nonsense card is super important, especially post side. You can pop like die fives and stuff with this if you just chain 5 mana. So yeah, that's super big. I liked this card a lot better than this card today.
Is it ever 3-in-1 Urgula?
To be honest, I considered it for a couple seconds there and ended up deciding against it just because Ban's also broken. There's a lot of game states versus Yummy where you'd rather have this. To be honest, I don't think I'd change any of the ratios for the Dracotail monsters. This stuff's pretty standard, and I don't think like I'd really change anything. They both have their utilities. And then for the fusion package I played, I decided actually not to play the Brand of Fusion cards. So I ended up playing 2 Darkened Dragon, 1 Light End, and then Mag searches the Dragon or the Dragon Dracotails or these guys. So the reason I decided to play these, it was kind of a meta call for the event. There's a couple things in my extract that I do have that made these cards better. So like I played like Hope Harbinger, so it made the detail matchup a lot better as well as the Mitsu matchup a lot better. It also helps you beat stuff like Droplet, which is very important because you can negate the first spell, and if they try to chain Droplet to it, you can just flame the Droplet and it still negates, or the Harbinger will still negate it. So these cards are like particularly good just because as a go first card, they help you facilitate stuff like Seals, which in my opinion was kind of the best import piece in the deck. Just because like Seal Summon Blues, like one of the most insane interactions you have. Or you can go like Seal Summon stuff in side deck. Was very good. It's also an 8. People's like main argument against these cards was like, oh, they're like really bad going second. Turns out if you just side them out, it doesn't matter. And then I guess another really important thing going into the event was the consideration of Retaliating Sea and how popular it'd be in the side. Because the deck did top YCS Lil. It top 8'd, so I was a little bit scared of Retsi post side, and I thought it was very important to just be playing cards that would not interact with that too much, and rather just like try to play around it a little bit more. So yeah, I think I was also the only one that topped with this package rather than the branded cards. I thought they were fine. I wasn't a particularly big fan of branded just because of the extra constraints that it had, and also like stopped you from making Seals SP, and the utility in your extra deck was a lot worse. So for the spells, 3 Rahu, 3 Ketu, these are the only ones I played. I didn't want to play extra fusions because again, Retaliating Sea post side. Played 1 Horn, 1 Flame. Non-engine, 3 Fua, self-explanatory. 3 Ash, self-explanatory. Bell, low-key the best hand trap in the format. I did end up maining 3 Nib. People are like, oh, this card sucks. Bad into Mitsu, bad into Dracotail, whatever. This card actually pairs very well into Mitsu, I found. This plus any of these hand traps means that when you nib them, you can also bell them after, and they kind of just leave them on nothing. It's pretty solid, honestly. I don't know why people were complaining about it so much into Mitsu. Also stops the Fossil Dino line with Gallant Granite, so it's actually very good there as well. Last cards inside deck, I played 3, or in the main, sorry, I played 3 Crow. This card sucks, actually. I don't think I'd ever play this card again. Theoretically, it was supposed to be okay because it was like it was alright into all three of the matchups. Like, you can crow the minion target, you can crow, like, Surprising Grave when they tried to add it back, to try to shut it down for the rest of the game, just because Marshmallow doesn't actually recycle the quick play from Banished, just the field spells. So, the idea behind this card was kind of just that it hit everything. It's also pretty decent to Mitsu. You can banish, like, the rituals as well as, like, stuff like Kusanagi, and then they kind of just lose the game in the grind. But in practice, this card's actually, like, insanely, like, low impact. So, like, you end up often losing. It's just like an egg one a lot of the time, which I didn't like.
Any thoughts on what you play instead of it?
To be honest, I'm not really sure what I consider in this spot. One thing I did actually consider going into the event was maining Meowls, because of the coverage it had, specifically into Mitsu and Yummy, both decks that I'd considered seeing a lot of. But I don't like playing more than 3 Moltres in the main deck, just because they're really bad to draw when you're going first, especially when you're drawing cards off of your trap cards. So, like, you draw the cards, they're kind of just dead in hand. You'd rather draw something that's actually live, which is why I was trying to maximize the number of hand traps I could play that were, like, these low impact toolboxy cards, where you can use them in in-game state. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. I played 40 cards in the main. I'm going to move on to the extra deck now, actually. So, pretty standard ratios again. 3 Arthalion, 2 Gulamel. I have space for 2 Gulamel, so because I'm not playing branded cards. I think 5 fusions is actually better than 4, obviously, than 4 fusions. Sometimes it comes up in the grind where you use all your Arthalion, specifically in the mirror, as well as your 1 Gulamel, so you want your Rahus to be alive in the late game. Mysterion, this card sucks. I, again, never made this card. Like, I don't think I've made it at, like, any tournament I've played in the last, like, 2 months. Secretarion, this card's broken. A lot of the lines in this deck specifically, when you're playing the dragons, rely on you making Secretarion, to special summon back a Malulu, and then you make a Harbinger with this, which is, it's really, really good. Obviously you have to conserve it for the mirror. But yeah, it was honestly, this card's, like, really insane. The special summon effect is good. The floodgate effect is really good as well. Came up in testing once where I actually I DD crowed my opponent's monster in graveyard, so that my Secretarion could attack over their Secretarion, because it has the effect where it, like, loses 100 for some reason, if for every banished card. Played Philly Regis. Honestly, this card is kind of the MVP of the day. I think I won 5 games off its back alone, just because my opponents weren't expecting me to make it, and then I just, like, there were game states where I'd summon this guy, or I'd summon an Arthalion from grave after specialing an Arthalion with, like, the line was, like, I'd summon Seal summon Malulu, go Malulu effect fusion summon, make Arthalion, go Chainlink 1, the Arthalion grave, Chainlink 2, the Arthalion to add back, and then Chainlink 3 Malulu to negate a guy. And then I'd add back, like, a 5 mana from grave to hand, and then I'd activate 5 mana to make Philly Regis and banish another card, so I've interacted with them, like, 3 times. Genuinely a very, very good, like, last push to have as well. You can loop mag with it, which is really funny. And then it also has, like, the secret graveyard effect where, like, you can, during your opponent's battle phase, return a dragon from your grave to the hand to special summon it. I thought that was really funny as well. It came up a few times. And then the last fusion monster I played was Chaos Star Source. This was kind of just my dragon banish for the most part. It's, like, alright. To be honest, I think I'd probably play a second Secretarion on this spot instead, going forward, just because it was better into the mirror, so I can make one turn 1, and I can make one, like, turn 2 or turn 3. The pop effect never really came up, to be honest. It was mostly just used as a banish. For the Excuse monsters, I played Harbinger, Spell Trap Negate, Self-Explanatory with the Dragons, and then Typhon, because this card's broken. I think I actually won a game off of this alone, which is very good. I like the card a lot. It's Typhon. The rest of the extra deck, Cross Sheep. I think I made this card twice. Won me both games. Allows you to, like, loop Lucius on turn 3, but a lot of times you don't even get that far because they scoop early, that you have too much advantage. SP, again, you kind of need it. It's, like, the best extra deck utility spot. And then Seals and Spirit. this card's actually the best card for my extra deck because of the dragons. So the theory behind the entire event actually was seals, while not the best of interruptions, specialed Malulu from deck, which allowed you fusion summon on your opponent's turn twice. And actually getting into the side deck real quick, I did play Kawaki Drago as a side target because I was expecting a lot of Mitsuyami. So this card kind of just like beats both of those engines, both the Mitsurugi and the Yummy engines, and also does surprisingly well into like some of the rogue matchups like the Canine decks, where you can just stop them from summoning darks and then just start popping the earths like Azuna and stuff. Yeah, like this making seals a lot more frequently means that you have better access to cards like Drago, you have better access to Malulu, special from deck. And it makes your engine a lot more strong in terms of like the interactions you're able to put up on your opponent's turn, rather than trying to end on like, I don't know, like Sanctifier plus like a Goulamel pop and some trap cards and 5 mana in hand. Like your interactions are a lot better in terms of your like the layered interactions, as well as like your agency on when you're able to use all of them, which I liked. So for the rest of the side deck, I played 3 Retaliating Sea for the mirror. People called this card terrible in the mirror because like, oh, you lock yourself as well. Going first, if you side this in, the Retaliating Sea doesn't actually affect you, and you can turn it off with your own seal whenever you want, just by returning it back to the hand, or you can special an attack and just bounce it back with your own horn when you're fusion summoning, which I really liked. And then going first, or going second, you can activate this, and it kind of puts your opponent in like this kind of like skill check dilemma, where it's either they pop it or banish it, and they've wasted like an obscene amount of resources to do it. So like they either had to banish from hand to special a fusion monster, specifically Goulamel, and then have a way to interact further by like normal summoning a Lucius or a Malulu, and I just don't have a response to either of those cards. Or they can like Philly Regis it, but like again also requires like an obscene amount of resources. So they either have to out it or they just pass. And if they just pass, that's like the best case scenario, because I just normal guy, make Cross Sheep, and just play from there. And if they were to pop it, I played Contact Sea, so I can just search it. Sometimes it was, to be honest, this card was like mostly just an additional card that I was adding from deck to hand and using as fusion material during my opponent's turn. If I had like a 5 mana or something, or if I like passed, I just activate like Ketu or Rahu and use this as from hand as material. It's just like an additional card, to be honest. Yeah, like I think Contact Sea won me 1 game just because I was playing it. Going forward, I think I'd probably switch this up for something. I'm not exactly sure what. But yeah, that was kind of my theory on that stuff. I played 3 Panks for the Yummy matchup. Herald's the only problem in that deck. If you can beat Ash, or if they have no interaction after the Yummy cards interact very poorly with the Dracotail cards, to the point where if you activate 1 spell after popping the Herald, the games just end. Unless they have Purge, in which case sometimes it can get awkward, but like that's just the matchup. If they have like Ash Purge, sometimes you just lose the game no matter what. I played 3 Droll for I expected to see a lot of Mitsurugi today. I saw a lot of played 2 Pure Mitsu, and then I played 3 Mitsuyami, so I think the card was like this is probably the best card in my side deck, to be honest. I sided this in the most. I think I saw it a couple times. To be honest, I didn't see much of my side the whole day. Mine especially in Drago from deck a lot. Yeah, for the rest of my side deck, called by Prosperity. I think this is like pretty self-explanatory. Negates Ash, negates Bell. And like it negates it for 2 turns, which is super important. And then Prosperity is just Prosperity. It's a monster, it's a trap, it's whatever you want, really. Tikaboo, this card's broken into Yummy, broken into Mitsu. It was just good. And then the last card I played inside was Sting. I thought Sting was insane. So there's like a dilemma between whether to play Horn or Sting in the main. I like playing Horn just because you can set it turn 0 after resolving a 5 mana. So you set Horn, and then in the draw phase, you can go Horn effect to return a Snatchy to hand, and then their synchro plays are just dead. And Horn was like a lot better of like a going second tool rather than Sting, just because Sting just like, while always live, the actual effect to banish from graveyard is not that impactful, as I said with DD Crow. And yeah, that was kind of like the theory behind meaning Horn. So I guess shout outs. Shout out to Dr. Rahu's clinic. Shout out to the Council of Rubina. Shout out to TGC, and that's it.
All right, thanks for profiling. Congrats on the top again.
Thank you.